Hey guys, welcome to the Heart of David. I have a number of things I want to talk about today. The two main topics though are forgetting God because you're in a new relationship, you have other things in your life you're doing, i.e. a rabbit, right? They aren't easy to take care of. They are a handful, and so I've experienced both of this now, and also, I mean, while I've been sick, physically sick for these number of years, and also, you know, having, I wouldn't call it a girlfriend, it turned out to be a narc anyways, but you get what I mean about having another responsibility on the side, right, whatever it is, and forgetting God. I don't mean forgetting God completely, but you guys know what I mean. Like if you have a girlfriend, you have a boyfriend, you start talking to them, and I'll get to that, okay? The other thing I wanted to say is giving thanks in all things. Give thanks in all things. I'll get to that too. And so before I get to those two topics, I should write things down in order and really put it. I try to do these videos without scripting stuff, and the reason is because I said in another video, I've done like 4,000 videos. Most of the other ones were about pain on another channel, and it's about over a 7-year period, and I never had to do that, and I never wanted to. I know it's smart to write stuff down in order. I know that. I challenge myself because once I got my gallbladder disorder, I felt so irritable, so like agitated with, you know, it's the equivalent of having a gallstone all the time. So I started to forget in my mind how to do this, and it took a lot of practice to do it without having to script. It's like a challenge for me. I don't want to feel that I have to write it down and look at it, but I think you get what I mean. And so there's just one thing I want to say before I get to all that. I made in the last video I made exposing what's his name, Brandon Riggs. I don't do that because I think it's fun. I don't do that. I do that because no one else was doing him. I erased one video, but here's my point. A lot of people, so if no one's doing him, there's a lot of souls being lost, right? What is a soul worth? What is one soul worth? The question is, would Christ come here for us to die for one of us? You hear that often. I believe the answer would be yes. I believe the answer is yes. So when somebody with, you know, I saw him rising. I saw, you know, 50, 80, 99,000, 145,000. That's 145,000 people who have heard him at some point, that may have switched their attitude on God because of a stupid person. Someone who's doing this, who's not speaking for the Lord. He's not speaking for the Lord. You know that. I can prove it. Well, I proved it in my last video, and that's why you're not supposed to be afraid of him, according to Deuteronomy. If what he says doesn't come to pass, you shall not be afraid of him. It doesn't say, but if later he says something else, you know, then, you know, that's okay. It doesn't say that. You get one false thing, and if there is a real prophet who gets one thing wrong by mistake, made a little tiny mistake, like it was an understandable mistake, you know, like the way he said it or something, that's understandable, but it should never happen again. But if it's like he tells you something and it doesn't happen, absolutely not. So you shouldn't be afraid of him. This is what I want to say. there's a lot of Christian YouTubers replaying that video. So just in replaying that guy's video, that could, just because of what happened to Trump with that and that guy, that could have stolen over to the devil side 30,000 people. You think that's worth talking about? So that's what I'm saying to YouTubers, hey man, look at what this guy's doing. But a lot of people don't care anyways. Give me a sec. I'm not saying it's a huge responsibility to have a dwarf rabbit, but I certainly remember kept my mom's hands full. There's a lot of stuff you have to do for them, so and mix that in with the life I already have and the stuff I have to take care of. That's just I recognize something right away, and so I thought, why not make a video about it? So will I do that one first? So I've wanted to get a rabbit now for a long time. I've wanted to get. I didn't want something that barked. I didn't want something that made a lot of noise. And sometimes they can make noise, but that was just because of my sleeping. That's it. And it was what happened, that assault that happened, that pushed me to say, like, I was in a point where I just couldn't get it off my mind. I'm like, I wonder if like a PTSD animal or an autism trauma animal type thing would be good, and so that's the reason I got it. Thankfully I didn't suffer anymore from that, by the grace of God. Do I still think about it? Yeah. Does that mean it's a flashback? No, not now. I won't lie, maybe there is, but there's not many. So it pushed me to get that. And the first thing I noticed was, so I got him 3 days ago, and I had all my stuff ready, had all the stuff, and so you're all happy you get him the first day, you're always watching over him, stuff like that. And so I wake up the next day, and like when I wake up, I have to take pain meds, I have to eat, and I have to let them work, right? I have to let my colic medication work, my opioids for my pain, and it can take 45 minutes at least. And what I do is I read the Bible. I spend an hour every morning reading the Bible. And so right away I'm like, check his cage, say hello to him, whatever. I know you don't have to do all that type of stuff, but I want to make a good bond with him, right? And I just realized it's like starting to take my mind off of it, starting to take my mind off of scripture in the morning. And I can't stop, like, should I go over, should I wipe up his urine, in the cage right away type stuff. Anyways, that's the stuff that was going through my mind. And I started to realize, you got to think of all their food, you have to think of their run, you have to think of cleaning their cage, changing their water, getting all the right foods, all that type of stuff. And I started to realize this is taking me away from this. I started to notice, and it's not a bad thing. I'll go right to what Paul said. Well, actually, I won't look it up. Most of you probably remember this, where Paul says, I wish that you would stay as I am. Can you remember that? And Paul was single, but Paul was married at one time, just to let you know. Let's look for that. This is the part in the Bible where, okay, 1 Corinthians 7, where he's talking about marrying, and 1 Corinthians 7. So 1 Corinthians 7 concerning married life, do not deprive each other. Okay, so listen to this. 1 Corinthians 7 verse 8. Now to the unmarried and the widows I say, is it good for them to stay unmarried as I do? But if they can't control themselves, they should marry. It's better to marry than to burn with passion. Can I tell you something just to interject into this? You know, if you burn with passion, it's better to marry. And that's why I tell people, like, there's a reason. I mean, it felt immoral, okay? It just feels immoral to me. There's a reason I stopped masturbating in this time, this age, where there's so much porn in your face. You don't have to buy it off of a shelf anymore. You don't have to do that. Any kid can just go look, and this is what they're doing to society. This is what they're destroying society by not masturbating anymore, because I do think it's immoral. I don't think people really have good thoughts. I'm not saying people have to do that, but it's so I don't burn. I don't want to burn that way, because that's what starts to happen. The more you do it, the more you do it, right? And then the more you have thoughts of which Christ would consider evil towards other women or other men, and I think you'll be attacked less by demons like sleep paralysis, all that type of stuff. But to the married I give this command, not I, but the Lord. To the married I give this command, not I, but the Lord. A wife must not. Okay, so there's a now to the unmarried and the widows I say, it's good for them to stay unmarried as I do. Why? So you're always thinking about Christ. See, because it says that, I have to look at this, okay, so here it is. Your mind is taken off of Christ. That's the bottom line. And this is what I felt with getting my dwarf rabbit. Just, you know, it could just take up enough of my day. I love this guy, but, you know, my concern when I get up is like, is he in any trouble? Is there something going on with him? Should I clean this? Should I do that? It takes me away from it. When usually I would just get up, I'd just, you know, be by myself. I wouldn't have to worry anything. I'd read right through the scripture. So you understand, when it comes to a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a wife, it takes you away from Christ. And this is what Paul is saying. So verse 32, 1 Corinthians 7. I'd like you to be free from concern. An unmarried man is concerned about the Lord's affairs, and I am. How he can please the Lord, but a married man is concerned about the affairs of the world. How can he please his wife? So that's why it's good to find a born-again wife or husband. You can see, right? Having someone to be on the same wavelength, you know, never in competition, any of that type of stuff. down to earth, someone who loves God, and his interests are how he can please his wife, and his interests are divided. An unmarried woman or virgin is concerned about the Lord's affairs. Her aim is to be devoted to the Lord in both body and spirit, but a married woman is concerned about the affairs of this world and how she can please her husband. I'm saying this for your own good, not to restrict you, but that you may live in a right way in undivided devotion to the Lord. So you say, well, what, was the whole world supposed to stay unmarried? No. This is just, Paul understands. I'm sure this chapter is both from God and Paul. You know, when you look at that, right, and you think, well, why wouldn't we marry, or why wouldn't we do these things? That just sounds stupid, you know, like God, you know, made woman for man, right, to be his helper, right? But I'm not saying women are second. That's not what I'm saying. We're both made from God made us, right? I think I just got myself in trouble. If anyone's worried that he might not be acting honorably towards the virgin he is engaged to, and his passions are too strong and he feels he ought to marry, he should do as he wants. He is not sinning. They should get married, but the man who has settled the matter in his own mind, who is under no compulsion but has control over his own will, and who has made up his mind not to marry the virgin, this man also does the right thing. So then he who marries a virgin does right, but he who does not marry does even better. I don't know if that's from Paul or from God, but I just say it's both. And so I'll stop there. I got to take a little break, guys. I was working before this, so just give me a sec. Okay, the next thing I'm going to say might be one of the hardest things that you have to do as a Christian, and that's learning to give thanks no matter what. You know what I think? You and I are put through, and in my life I've been through a lot of trials and tribulations. A lot of them. Very painful lessons. Some I learned from it, some I didn't. I learned from all of them today, by now. But no matter how, my throat got something stuck. No matter what position. Okay, this is what I wanted to say. We go through trials and tribulations. We know this, right? I believe they're tests for us. That's what I think. And I think, you know, people have the idea that God isn't watching us and that his eyes don't scan throughout the earth. It isn't like that. He does. And the angels watch us too. We're put through certain trials, whatever it is. We have a flu, we have Lyme's disease, we have whatever it is, something that is uncomfortable to go through, something that feels unfair. It could be divorce, it could be abuse, it could be any of those things. I'm not saying God purposely put you in that trial. That's not what I'm saying. But I think he watches to see the way that we react to certain things. And that's where giving thanks and everything comes in. You know, I'm very thankful for the things that I do have. And there are times where think of all those times that you feel good about the Lord and feel like on fire for the Lord, right? Say you get really sick and you become bedbound for, let's say, a week or something, something strikes your abdomen or something like that. When you're lying down there and you're thinking, when am I going to get back up? Are you able to say to yourself, thank you anyways for those things that you did give me? That's the entire point that I'm making here. And I think that even goes for even people who are going homeless and stuff like that. Look at the story of Job, right? He was still, no matter what his friends said to do, or his wife, told him to curse God, he didn't do it. And because of it, he was blessed. I'm not saying give thanks always because you're going to be blessed. That's more falling along the lines of, the charismatic gospel, right? Just remember the next time that you're going through something bad to say thank you anyways. And that those things that you have been given, the things that you do have, you're thankful for. I think that's about all I wanted to say today. Why did I call my rabbit Joshua? I just wanted a biblical name. I wasn't which one to do. And he'd be up there, but he's not my favorite. He's not my top. The top one is David for me, not because my name is David, and that's the reason I called my channel The Heart of David, because God really loved David, right? But Joshua, I just remember, well, number one, it's a nice name, but two, I just remember Joshua was standing there and the angel of the Lord was there, and he didn't know it was the angel of the Lord, and he said, are you for us or are you against us? Which actually makes me, and anyways, that's why I really like the character of Joshua in the Bible. I was just going to say something, but I forgot what it is. Anyways, guys, God bless. You know what? I'll probably start writing things down in order now, because sometimes it really does get hard. Like when I'm eating and stuff, my abdomen really hurts. Oh, I will say this, just to finish this off. I want to say a prayer for someone. I'm asking you to say a prayer for a certain person. I don't, I leave my email sometimes. If you guys ever want to leave a letter, if you want me to pray for you privately, if you want me to pray for you over here, this person asked me to pray for them, and I'm not going to say their name because I don't want to do that to someone who hasn't asked for that, but a very specific prayer. Let's say a prayer of a peace and stability, but also to help financially, because we have to count on God to help us financially to live, right? So I'm asking you to say a prayer, and I'll just say, Lord, I read the message, and I pray that you help this person both stay in stability and to help them out financially, whatever it is they come across, and I hope that this person can stay in one place. So there it is. Please say a stability prayer for this person, and one of financial, what they need, right? Not what they want, but what they need. We never know what God will give us, though. So God bless, guys.